What's up YouTube, and welcome to another episode of Chris Glides. Today I'm going to be installing this Customs Dynamic Pro Beam LED Tour Pak light bar kit. And I say kit because I'm going to show you what's inside, but I'm going to be installing it on this Rally Red 2025 Harley-Davidson roadglide CVOST. Yes, CVOST, because I'm going to be putting it on this model with the Tour Pak. So stay with me. So let's quickly open up this box and see what we have inside. And I am going with this smoke lens, and let's get in here. The kit, I call it a kit because inside the kit, it's gonna have your harness that goes inside the Tour Pak. That is the 5-pin connector right there that actually engages the lights. And let's see if I can find some part numbers on here. And so you can go ahead and pause that and read it off. There's your part number right there. That's one part of the kit. And the next part of the kit is gonna come with, this is your template. And the template you're gonna use to put on the Tour Pak so that you can mark your holes. The next item in the kit is something that I'm very familiar with, and it is the 12-pin to 6-pin connector. And this is the part number that Custom Dynamic sells for this. And this part mounts or is located underneath the seat. And that's what's going to allow you to connect this wire, which goes under the Tour Pak, to this 12-pin to 6-pin adapter. And then last but not least, there's going to be your actual light bar itself. And let me remove some of this paper off so you can see. And I'm going with smoked, and that's what it's going to look like. And so on the other side, you'll see that it's going to have the area for your plug for your 5-pin adapter. That's where that part is going to connect into. And since I'm using a chopped, and I'm not going to be using the antenna, I'm just going to take these out for now. That way I don't scratch up anything. And I'm just going to put this up on or near the bike so that you can take a look at it. It's my Chopped Tour Pak. And a lot of people do not put these on Chopped, they put them on a King. But I do, because I like the extra visibility. So it's gonna look something like that. But it'll be mounted on there closer. And I've done it before and I love the look, so. All right, so first things I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be covering up the bike, but I'm gonna be taking off the saddlebags. I'm gonna be removing, I don't have my regular seat, so don't laugh, but I'm gonna be removing this seat and that seat cowling. I'm gonna leave the Tour Pak on because it's just easy enough to work with this with the Tour Pak on, but I'm gonna cover up everything that I need to cover, and anything that needs blue tape on it, I'll be doing that as well. So I got blue tape, I got my drill, some drill bits, and some screwdrivers, marker, and an X-Acto knife. And I do have my Dremel. Those are some of the things that I'm gonna use to help me with this install. And a lot of times when people buy these parts, they already have a King Tour Pak, they already have a light bar, and they're kind of just replacing things. And so oftentimes the holes are already drilled in the back. As you can see, there's no holes here. So just looking at this, you're going to need to create a pretty large hole for this to fit through. And everything else fitting around it, the drilling template will show you, like, you're gonna have holes throughout the back side of the bike. So I'll get the template, which is inside of this bag right here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be wrapping the template around, and I will mark the holes accordingly. And for the holes where the screws are gonna be, I'll make some drilling holes. And for where that large part is gonna be, I'm just gonna drill holes around, and then I'll use my Dremel blade and make it large enough for this piece to go through, and also the notch, because when you plug it in, that notch has to go all the way in. But let me go ahead and get the bike apart so we can go ahead and get started. So in preparation for the next steps forward, I went on and removed the saddlebags as well as the seat, and I placed them in a location safe. And so with the seat off, these are the connectors that we're gonna be disconnecting. Those are the 12-pin connectors, and when you unplug those, we're gonna use the kit right here that has the 12-pin adapters, we're going to be plugging one into one end and the other into the other end. There's only one way it can go. All right, to do this, you're going to locate the 12-pin adapter, push right here on the tab, and release. All right, so you have one end there and the other end that is open. And so you're just going to do it in reverse order. So this is open. It will now go into this section, and then the other one will then go into the open section. And this is what it looks like. So this was the one that you put in on that side, and there's the one that stays on the base part. So it's plugged in, and you want to push in both till they snap. You're going to have the rest of your harness here, but this is where your 6-pin adapter is now going to be. So all of this is going to get snugged up and placed under your seat nice and neat. This remains in place, and this is your new 6-pin. Now this 6-pin is the part that normally all the original other parts would connect into, like all your saddlebag lights, everything in your tour pack. Now within this 6-pin, it's called a 6-pin because you have those 6 ports. 5 of them are actually going to be used for the actual light bar, and the extra one is a power cord or power accessory wire, and that's when people would often have like the cigarette lighter or the accessory plug that they would use inside of their tour pack, and you can still do that. So I'm going to open up this next harness and kind of show you what I'm talking about. So I've opened up the other harness, and it's pretty lengthy. So this part is the part that we're concerned about. That's what's going to plug in right there where your LED light is going to be. Everything else is going to sit underneath of your tour pack on the bottom, or just wherever you can fit it on top. These other wires are wires that I have a Chopped Tour Pak, but on the King, this would be the side marker lights that these two plug into. All right, I don't have those. And then this is going to be your accessory, and that is for things like on the older bikes, they had like the cigarette lighter adapter. I usually hook up now like USB adapters and things like that. So anyway, one of the places that I like, so this is going to go underneath of the tour pack and out. A lot of the tour packs, Harley-Davidson puts the hole right here. I don't do that because visibly on a Chopped, with a hole right there, you'll be able to see it, right? So, and I don't put it under here. Where I like to put it is underneath. Right under there is where I put my hole, and I'll run my wire lines down under here and to the seat. And some people try and make this long enough to go into the tour pack that way. You really don't have to. You can kind of leave this under here and go the other way, or whichever way you want. So, but this is going to connect, this 6-pin is going to connect to this 6-pin and just plug right in. All right, so with them plugged in, I'm just showing you like how the wiring goes, but this is certainly long enough to go from this direction into the tour pack and have all your connections in there. But it's also long enough to go the other direction. But however you choose to do it, it's up to you. I'm gonna put my hole directly under the bottom and run my wires up. And this cable here, I could just run along the side and just have it nice and neat and pretty. This is a quick detachable tour pack. So the reason why we have so many harnesses is so that you can quickly disconnect and then be able to disconnect your tour pack, wrap your wires around, leave them there. And so I'm gonna go ahead at this point and drill my holes and put my drilling template up and mark my holes so that I can mount the light and then also have my wires ran from underneath. One of the other custom dynamic parts that I have installed on this Harley-Davidson Air Wing luggage rack is this custom dynamics light here. And so that is a total different install video that I have, but the wire comes down out through there and it connects right here. So I have a whole nother harness for that, but that is gonna also allow me to plug into or daisy chain into the other connectors. So I can go ahead and do that now, connect those, and then this will go and be connected to the wire harness up there. So everything gets tied into everything else. All right, so I have my drilling template in my hand, and so you're gonna see tape strips around. And so what that does is, it allows you to stick it to your bike like so. And see the edges right there? You're gonna mark those edges. You already know that this piece is gonna go right there because that's how it looks on the back of your LED light. And then just tape all the way around, and I'll show you what it looks like in a second. So this is a little difficult to see, but so I have the template on. I removed the tape from off the back, the tape strips. I have the areas that I need to drill for screws. You can see the holes along the template. And so enough said with that. And it's, you know, you're like, okay, I'm gonna cut into a $2,000 or $3,000 tour pack. Yes, you are. So you have your template up. I'm gonna use some blue tape to make sure it doesn't come off. I'm gonna mark my holes, and I'm also gonna go and grab this, and I'm looking at it because I wanna make sure, trust but verify. So I'm just putting it up here to see. All right, so what I'm looking at is that's the main thing right there, and I'm looking at if it's lining up where that goes. And yep, it does. So I'm ready to drill, baby, drill. So I just want to take a second to stop and explain that some of these holes that are in here you're not going to use. Like, I'm not going to use this hole up top, and I'm not going to use that hole either because I'm not running a CB. I'm going to be using my Bluetooth Sena or Cardo or whatever. I'm not using a CB with my bike, so I do not need those holes drilled. So I'm going to do those two. I'm going to do these two here. I see there's another hole at the bottom there. But what I did was I added the blue tape to make sure the template stays in place. And yep, so looks good. And cover your bike up how you want it. Also, when you drill your hole underneath, be sure that you don't go into your fender. So cover your fender up. All right, so this kit comes with one drilling template and 4 mounting screws. But as you can see on the back, A is the mounting screws, and it calls for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So don't have enough mounting screws, but we'll get through this. All right, so for me, I covered up my fender, and I use this this blade right here on my Dremel, and that way I know that I cannot actually go through and hit my fender. And so that hole is going to be big enough for my cord to go through. I'm going to run this under and in like that. And so now it's safely routed, and I can go on to the next steps. And so some people say, well, if you do that, you can't use, you know, those, whatever you call them, the little rubber things that go in, grommets. But I go ahead, I mean, water's not gonna go from down up, but I use flex tape, and this is gonna be up and in here, and everything can now just plug in, and that part is done. All right, so from here, once you have your hole drilled and you run your wire through, you can go ahead and plug in now to the rest of your harnesses. And once all your harnesses are plugged in, at this point, you can pretty much test everything and see how it works. I'm just gonna plug this in, and I'll have this other light here, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So I plugged in my light bar and just stuck it inside the tour pack. Just turning the bike on. You can see it does work, and this does work. And so now I'm confident to go ahead and move forward and go ahead and drill my holes. I've marked the square out. I'm gonna use my Dremel for that, and because it just makes nice and clean cuts. And I'm just gonna drill 1 2, 3, and then the 4th one on that side. I can drill more holes and get some more screws from a hardware store. And but for now, I'm just gonna get this installed done and show you the final product. All right, so I kind of went on and got some of this cleaned up and got all the dust off so it wouldn't look so ugly in the video. And back to where I am, I went on and drilled out the 4 holes and the big square in the back. I have this big square cut out so that my wire can run along the side of the bike. I'll tighten all this up so that the seat can go back on. I use flex tape, which is waterproof for areas like this. This is gonna go down, it'll be covered, you won't be able to see it. And I'm gonna go ahead and do that and put the light bar on the bike. As you can see, that part goes through and fits in there nice and neat. And I just need to go ahead and screw that on. All right, so here's a placement of where mine is gonna be. And I know that because I took the Tour Pak and closed it down to make sure that that's where I want it before I put these screws in. And just making sure that everything goes flush all the way around and so that the lid will actually close. All right, so at this point I have the light bar installed and on the bike. I went on and used the holes that I normally use and throw this pad back on. Yeah, this is kind of bulky under here, but on the King Tour Pak, you have a whole platform where you don't see all of that stuff. And it's nice and flush for you. And what I did, I went on and used the flex tape on the top side and bottom side. And from my experience, that's been better than any grommets I've ever used. And so that's it. Close this up, turn everything on. That closes, fits pretty nice. And the only thing else to do is to just turn it on, make sure it works again. And there we have it, that's installed. So with everything already installed, the only thing to do is to put your saddlebags back on the bike. And as far as in here, you want to just make this neat as possible so that nothing gets pinched or crunched down. They supply some zip ties for you and make it as neat as possible. All right, so I went on and put the seat, the saddlebags, and everything else back on and back together just so you can kind of see everything, how it flows and how it looks. That is the Custom Dynamics light for the air wing. And so I'm just adding a lot of brake light to the back of this bike. And that's some of the things that I like to do. And in the future, I'm gonna be installing the Custom Dynamics saddlebag, brake lights, and turn signals back there. And also I'll be replacing that bracket with the Custom Dynamics license plate bracket that gives it a nice, cleaner, sleeker look. And so far, this just makes the bike so much more safe. Turn on my hazards so you can kind of see. Pretty cool. So only thing else you can do with the bike, far as, let me show you how the blinkers look. It comes with a magnet, and with the magnet installed, you can change the type of patterns that you see on the bike. So there you have the sequential turn signal, which is always pretty cool. A lot of people like that one, and so it's already pre-programmed for that. So I love it. So Custom Dynamics, along with that install, some of the other things you can put on is this this module, which is a smart triple play run brake turn module here. And the other thing you can do is install a magic strobe. And all these do is they just plug in along with the wires that are already installed on the bike, fast and easy. And it just gives you more features as far as brake and visibility. So, but for this episode, I want to thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned because who knows where we're going to go next.